What's up, Jackalopes? Today's wrap-up is going to be pretty brief. I didn't touch my TBR for May at all. I hit a hell of a slump right at the beginning of the month, and I basically didn't read anything until like Memorial Day weekend, and at that point I was dog sitting for some people that are friends of ours, and so like I just had a ton of time where I was sitting around hanging out with their dogs, so I just read. But that was basically the entirety of my reading time for the month of May, and I read 2 books, neither of which was on my TBR. So yeah. The first book I started in May was Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. This was the Paper Cup Book Club pick for May. The live show was supposed to be yesterday, but it's been moved to June 6th. And I picked up the book because I wanted to watch that, and also because I've been interested in it for a while. But basically, it's a sci-fi horror with mermaids. And it's about this expedition of people that is sent out to find out what happened to a previous ship that was sent out on which the entire crew and all of the passengers disappeared. So this group of people is sent out to discover what happened. It's about killer mermaids, so you can kind of guess what happened. But yeah, it was really good. I'm neither a horror or sci-fi reader typically, but I really enjoyed Into the Drowning Deep. I felt like the balance was really well done between those two elements, and the horror was so well done. It was really it took real full advantage of that deep sea is terrifying thing, which is a thing that I've really recently realized I wanted, because I played Soma, which is a horror game set in a deep sea base, and it doesn't use deep sea horror at all. Like, you're in a deep sea base for no reason, and I've just been really wanting some deep sea horror that actually took advantage of the fact that we don't know what's down there, and it's terrifying. And this did that so well. I really loved it. It really caught my attention right from the very start. And part of that was because there were so many fantastic characters to like in that book, because there were so many characters that I felt like could be very one note, where like there's a character who could be almost entirely defined by the death of her sister, and there's another one who could be almost entirely defined by being an evil corporate man, and they just seem at first glance like they're going to be very one note, very shallow characters. And then none of them are. They're all really well developed throughout the story, and I ended up really loving all of them. I definitely had a long list of favorites in this book. They were all fantastic. So yeah, highly recommend if you like sci-fi or horror. It's really good for both, I think. The second book that I read is going to be a little harder to talk about because it kind of became painfully relevant in this time. Because the second book that I read is Little Scarlet by Walter Mosley, and this takes place during the race riots in the Watts neighborhood of Los Angeles in 1965, and it's about a black investigator who was called in by the police to help them solve a murder because a black woman has been murdered in the neighborhood, and they don't think, what's bookmark in there? They don't think that it's related to the riots. They think that she was murdered by somebody else, but they're concerned that sending white police in to investigate the murder is going to cause some more issues, is going to incite more violence, so they ask the main character, whose name is Easy Rollins, to go in and try to solve the case for them. Throughout the novel, it becomes increasingly apparent that the police that have sent him in are much more interested in getting good PR. They're very ready for the killer to be a white man that they can, like, use as an example, and basically try to make it look like, yeah, we have the best interests of the people in this neighborhood in mind. Like, we are doing what we can to help them, when really, you know, they're mostly working against them, that they're trying to like deny their role in starting the riots. If you're unfamiliar, the riots in Watts in 1965, and I just learned this myself, I was reading this for a class and had to do a little bit of research on it. It started when a man and his brother were being arrested for driving drunk, and police said that they started resisting arrest, and a fight broke out between the two men and the 2 officers that were trying to arrest them, and then it just sparked a whole riot that spread throughout California as well. And so yeah, it's a bit heavy, and it's a little painfully real right now. I finished this book, and then within a few days there were like real protests cropping up all over the nation. So that has been a little bit surreal. I think this is just, to me, just such a reminder that we need to be kind to each other. We need to listen to each other and believe each other. When somebody says, when a group says, this is what's happening to us, here's how we're being treated, we need to listen, and we need to work together to try and solve those problems and try to make real change. Yeah, this is just, it's a hard time. But those are all the books I read. I'm currently reading Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, which seems much less important now, and I'm hoping to finish that soon. It's for a book club that I started with some friends and coworkers. I'm in the midst of trying to plan our chat for that book. So at some point I will have that done, but not in May. So yeah, thanks for watching. I know this was very short. I'm hoping to read a lot more in June. I'm definitely more in a reading mood now, but you know, thanks again for watching, and please be safe, be kind, and I hope to see you in the next video.